Hello everybody, me and Rob are here in person for another Mint One Live from Gamescom 2022.
This is the first Mint One Live in person for
It
us.
is. I think the last one was several months ago for
NFT
NYC.
Yeah, and that was you on your AirPods minutes after it closed.
This is the first actual podcast in person, isn't it? So
yes. Yeah, only second time we've met.
We've met in person, yeah. And it's been what, 9 months? 8 months, 9 months? Since we started the pod.
Yeah.
It's been about a year since we first
E-met.
In
Yes.
the cringiest form I can say that possibly. But
Now we're here.
We are.
In a courtyard in Cologne.
Yeah, on the roof of the Kulmesse at Gamescom 2022. The first Gamescom for 3 years since COVID-19.
Yeah.
And well, a lot of people have been asking me. Well, I've had a few DMs ask me why I'm even at Gamescom, and I think one, it's a fun event to be at. But two, the blockchain and Web3 is on everyone's lips. On top of your usual headliners, like your Microsofts, your Bandai Namco, your Bethesda, etc. We have Immutable.
Yep.
We have Horizon Blockchain Games, the people behind Skyweaver. We've got members of the Atomic Hub team here, and plenty of other people that I think are kind of hiding away in the shadows.
Yeah, there's loads. It was only I said to you just before we came on. There was only one game that was properly advertising that it's using blockchain, and that was I think Mines or.
Yes.
The Mines or something like that. I'm not familiar with the game, so I'll definitely drop by it. But yeah, there are people. I bumped into Alien Worlds folk as well earlier, which is it's cool to see them here. Although they did say they experienced a little derision on their train up here because the only reason I recognise them is because I'm wearing sunglasses because I'm being flashbanged by a white wall. In case you think I think I'm extremely cool, because it's not the case. So they were wearing Alien Worlds t-shirts, and they got the train here today, and they obviously were sitting opposite someone on their way to Gamescom, and they said, "What's Alien Worlds?" And that led to what sounded like a pretty long encounter of that person reinforcing their position on blockchain games and NFTs. But generally, we're in the business, like the B2B section, which I think is far more open to mainly because most of them are secretly working.
pretty much. But just to give you guys some context, we're recording this on the Wednesday, which is the first official day of Gamescom 2022. But it is only open to trade visitors and press at the moment. So, I mean, even with just trade visitors here, it's unbelievably busy.
It's crazy. I can't imagine what tomorrow's going to be like with another. How many hundreds of thousands of people did they say it's going to come?
It's over 400,000 people estimated across the whole event, which ends Sunday.
Yes.
So
I don't think they've got the infrastructure for it. I'm going to go out there now because I had to queue to get one pretzel. I had to queue for like half an hour. So,
wow.
And that's only, I guess today's only B2B press and trade.
Pretty much, yeah.
So tomorrow's going to be.
I was just in the business area, and I think I queued about 20 minutes for a can of Coke. So
yeah, and Max, John's colleague, had to, and I quote, beg for water.
I mean, it's 33 degrees today. I believe
it's hot. Yeah.
It's going to be mid 30s throughout the week, so it's sweltering here. But
it's air conditioned inside, which is nice.
Thank God.
So we like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the event itself is amazing. It really genuinely impressive event. The people that are here, the brands, the publishers, the developers, they really try as well. It's not like there are some booths that are just like a little banner over someone, but they tend to be indie games that don't have hundreds of thousands of chuckles. But then you look at like Sega and there's a Mini in a giant box. There's some crazy stuff going on. I haven't tried anywhere near the amount that I want to.
No, I definitely spent some more time walking the show floor because it looks spectacular. It's
really does.
Relatively affordable, but as I said, the kind of the main reason why I guess both of us are here is the increasing presence of blockchain and Web3 gaming, and I can't go too much into the details, but us on my side with the Atomic Hub team, there's a number of interesting conversations going on, shall we say. There's very specific reasons why we're here, and I think that's the case for a lot of the Web3 companies that are here.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're a project, a blockchain, a marketplace, you know, there's an increasing amount of the traditional gaming publishers and studios that are looking at Web3, and they're looking at companies like Atomic Hub and, you know, similar people in the space to kind of partner up with to facilitate their move into Web3. And it's I came into Gamescom anticipating that if I mentioned NFTs or blockchain gaming to anybody, they'd just tell me to leave.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, there's been a handful of people where they overhear NFTs, they're like, oh my god, go away.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I should say, especially in the business area, people have been very open and receptive, and they want to learn more about the space and they want to understand it more, which is, it's huge. It's huge for the industry moving forward. And Jen wrote an article for us earlier in the week about how pivotal this Gamescom will be for blockchain gaming moving forward. And it really is kind of a pinnacle event for not just for gaming in general, but for blockchain gaming. I mean, we had NFT NYC earlier that year that was very NFT focused, but there was a lot of, you know, all the marketplaces and all the projects go there, but you didn't have Sega there.
No.
Or the big games publishers, and those are the people who are going to be key for this industry moving forward.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's also, so we're wearing these gaudy lanyards. So Meet to Match is an app, if you've never heard of it, that allows you to connect with other businesses while you're here. So it's almost like Tinder for businesses. You just sort of scroll through and see something you like, and you're like, okay, let's meet and chat about this, and you can select what you're interested in and stuff. And there's two things that surprised me. One is I'll put it to three, because one, there was an option to tick blockchain as something you're interested in, in a business to business sense, either a person or a company. And then the second was how many people ticked that. Because it was, I don't know if you filtered by it, but that's one of the things I did, just to see if there were any games I should meet with. And there were way too many. I think there was something like 192 companies that were interested in blockchain in a business to business sense. And then again, I don't know how much to say because I don't want to annoy anyone, but I've got meetings with pretty big players that have no public relation to blockchain, and they haven't made their stance clear, but they haven't said anything, or that they're doing anything. And one of these meetings is it's not a publisher or a developer, but it's infrastructure. Okay. And they're a really, really important cog in gaming as a whole, as an industry. And they, when I mentioned blockchain, they said, "Oh, we want to bring on one of our senior structure, blah blah blah." It's a long title, techie title, but they're really interested in what they can do with it. And I think, I'm not sure if this will be the pivotal one for blockchain gaming. I think that might be the next Gamescom or around then, but this feels like the first. I mean, it is unambiguously the first one for blockchain gaming, because when was the last Gamescom in person?
2019.
So I don't think they would have. I mean, I think there had only been a handful of projects that could have represented here anyway. So I think this is the first one where we're actually seeing some, and I think from here in, it will just become more and more prevalent, which is great, and it's great to see, you know, Web3 companies not being siloed. As Web3, because we don't want Web3, we don't want blockchain gaming to be called blockchain gaming forever. We just want it to be gaming, and we don't want to even know the blockchain's involved. It just does its stuff behind the scenes. Which is hopefully we're headed, but there's some extremely promising things happening here, and we've got between us quite a few meetings in the next few days.
Quite a lot. I mean, just talking about two of the booths in the business area, I've seen Sequence, who is of course Horizon Blockchain Games, who creates Skyweaver, and Venly, who are another Web3 games company. And they're not in some dark corner away from everything. They're stood shoulder to shoulder with, you know, indie games and, you know, AAA publishers, and, you know, they're very much a part of Gamescom rather than an addition to it. And I mean, I was saying to other members of the Atomic Hub team earlier today, when it comes to Gamescom 2023, I think we're going to see many more blockchain companies have a more public presence, because there's a lot of them here, but not a lot of them want people to know that they're here.
Yeah, not many. I think the problem is not many are exhibiting.
No,
but there are a lot of people here. Like I said, Alien Worlds. I didn't know they were going to be here, but they're not exhibiting, but they are meeting with people, and it feels like we're sort of this marginalised group that's sneaking our way into the larger society. But I mean, it feels inevitable to me, and I know it feels inevitable to you. But
I think just to make a comparison, I don't know if you've been around the retro gaming hall.
I haven't. I've seen barely anything,
but it's huge, and it's got the Atari console from 50 years ago all the way up to your Daytona machines from 2000s and all sorts of things, and that's quite a niche sector of the gaming world.
Yeah.
But I think Web3 and blockchain games will probably be approaching that kind of level within the next few years or so.
Yeah. I just thought that when you were speaking earlier. I wonder if there'll be a blockchain gaming hall, like they've got retro gaming. I wonder if Web3 gaming could have its own hall, or if that would get burned down.
It'll be interesting to see, and I guess, as I said, we're recording this on Wednesday before the river of consumers comes at us in the next few days. But it'll be interesting to see what the kind of general consensus is amongst gaming fans.
Yeah.
When it comes to Web3 and blockchain gaming, because I mean, if you look at Twitter, you would come to the consensus that all the gaming fans hate NFTs and blockchain. Maybe not as virulently as they did 6 months ago, 12 months ago, but that's still the overriding kind of impression that you get. But I guess we'll see. Across the next few days.
There needs to be a lot of rehabilitation of its image, I think, in terms of not only blockchain gaming but NFTs as a whole. I think we're still reeling from issues with things selling for millions of pounds and people not understanding them, and the rug pulls, and there's so much that the industry has to recover from. And I think the image needs rehabilitating in a big way. But I think that it will happen naturally over time. Like I said, the vitriol isn't quite as hot as it was. Although Alien Worlds guys might disagree.
I think getting it in person is
getting accosted on a train is something. But I mean, they wore Alien Worlds t-shirts. So they knew they were going to be engaged in some way, and that's how I spotted them. But yeah, I wonder how many. Or we'll see over the next few days how many blockchain gaming companies and publishers and people are here. I would suspect it's more than we even realise at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I know Immutable, who are here, are holding kind of events off the actual Gamescom grounds, but I believe I'm going to be attending some of those over the next few days, so I'm looking forward to seeing exactly who will be there and how many people are there from how many projects, whether it's just Web3 or if it's Web2 as well. But as you guys listen to this, Jens will publish an interview we did with Qantas Gallery, which is a brand new NFT gallery in London. And they talked quite a lot about kind of shifting the opinion of NFTs from kind of untenable to unmissable, basically. And quite in the same way as Gamescom is doing, I think, as these major partners and known entities in the Web2 space adopt NFTs and adopt blockchain technology and find a use for it, then I think that onboarding that we talk about is going to come naturally.
Yeah, hopefully. We're starting to see it bleed in more and more through all different routes, but I think if you could rehabilitate the art image as much as anything, I think we'd see a real change, because there's definitely still a feeling that art is just right click save. We haven't really escaped that stereotype yet.
No.
But we're getting there, and I think the fact that there's any blockchain gaming presence at Gamescom right now, when there are so few blockchain games that are playable, is a good sign. I mean, we've got to remember, I don't want to do the how early we are thing, but we still are, in terms of there aren't really AAA games out for it. There's a few great games that are on the verge, but they're not here yet, so they're not pushing it. And I don't think they're actually close enough to really be pushing the release either.
Not really. I mean, there's plenty of AAA games in development. Not a lot of them are public. I think we're both aware of some of them, but can't really talk about them yet. But I mean, as you say, we're looking at 12 months, 18 months, 24 months down the line, where players will be able to get their hands on them. But I think when that time comes, there is going to be this great kind of change in perception towards blockchain games. Because I mean, as you said, at the moment I don't want to disparage Alien Worlds, but it's more a DAO than it is a game.
they're doing some cool stuff. Actually.
They're doing some cool stuff.
But perhaps I'm just an apologist for those sort of games now, but I do think that they have done important work for blockchain gaming. Absolutely. In terms of not only pioneering the way, but also they're always out there and out and about in discussions with people and educating. And I was talking to Ed at Alien Worlds earlier, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, so I'm not going to, but they've got some amazing stuff coming up with esports, and they're working out there to make it more. It is still DAO based, but it's going to be more like a clan warfare, and they're starting to gamify more. But that isn't the game that's going to get the mass adoption. They know that, we know that. There's nothing you can really do about that. I don't think it's. Unless I think they are interested in inducting more games into their ecosystem, which could well do it if it becomes sort of more of a metaverse thing. Yeah. But yeah, we're at probably a crossroads at the moment, and we're starting to see the right things come through. Yeah. But yeah, well, we're still a way away, and I don't think there'd be much point in games like Shrapnel or really, really good looking AAA games. I'm not sure how much value they'd get out of exhibiting here, and I think the heat would probably be worse than the publicity they get.
I mean, one of my favourite upcoming blockchain games is Metalcore. I think if they were to exhibit here, everybody would just make the PlanetSide 2 connotation, be like, well, that's a better game, doesn't have NFTs in it, something like that. But I think if they were to come here in, let's say, 23, 24, there'd be a much more positive reception to them being here. You touched on Alien Worlds, kind of going to all of these in-person events, and I think that's part of the reason why me and you are here. It's part of the reason why Atomic are here and Mutable and all the other companies is if we're going to be a part of the games industry, then we need to turn up to these events and be here in person. You know, I don't think blockchain gaming could grow into the industry that we wanted to become if we stay exclusively online and away from where all the hype and all the attention is at an event such as Gamescom. I mean, I've only been here a day. I've made connections here that I never would usually make online, you know, but not just amongst Web3 people, amongst people in Web2 as well. And I think it's important for us to work together and be collaborative and be in these places where we can help facilitate that to drive this industry forward.
Yeah, and I think it's worth reiterating that so many people are interested to talk to people that are working on Web3, and a lot of these companies, I'd say my biggest meetings not in terms of prospects, but in terms of the person I'm meeting being a big deal or the company being a big deal. All of the biggest ones are nothing to do with Web3 currently, or at least publicly they're not. And I think I've definitely felt like this for a while, that you're kind of waiting for that technological singularity where one AAA game releases, it's undeniable, and people play it, and then everyone's okay with NFTs. I just don't think that's really going to happen. It's going to be a gradual thing, and I imagine we'll be here next year, and there'll still be people that say, "Oh, NFTs are still evil," but every year it will just get less and less, and particularly as we improve onboarding, like you mentioned sequence, Skyweaver, we've harped on about the onboarding on that a lot. Also, the onboarding on Fractal is amazing. It's so easy, you don't even realise you've got a wallet, which is exactly where we need to go.
That's it.
I think we're still pushing something that eventually will just be part and parcel of gaming, a bit like the internet is now. Like we're just going to, in maybe 2 or 3 years, it won't be like, this is a blockchain game. So it's like, would you see any game out there saying this is an internet game? No, it's just functionality behind the scenes. So I think we're headed towards that, but it takes time. And I'm impressed. This event so far it's impressive how many Web3 people are here and how receptive people are to Web3 people, even if we're having to sneak around the shadows a little bit without exhibiting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing my lanyard says NFT Insider, and there's been parts of Gamescom so far where I'm like, can I just turn this around? I don't really want. But I mean, in general, I don't think I really needed to be that hesitant. I think I had one person earlier, and I don't want to name their names because I don't think they're openly in Web3 yet, but they saw that the word NFT was on my lanyard and just initiated a conversation. Yes. And that's very much kind of the feeling that I've think both of us have probably had here. Is that, you know,
I get away with it a bit because token gamer.
It was always a bit ambiguous,
and it was a play on words. A token gamer. And, so I kind of get away with it. You're not getting away with it.
No, I'm definitely not getting away with NFT Insider. But it's not proved to be a detriment. If anything, it's helped to kind of initiate a few chats. But it's only the first day, but it's already had such a big impression on us. And I definitely think, I can't be 100% sure, but I definitely think I'll be back. I definitely think Atomic Cup will be back, and we'll see many Web3 companies besides either come back or come to an event such as Gamescom for the first time next year.
Yeah, and just to talk about Gamescom from a point of view that's not Web3, it's such an amazing event for gamers. Like, if you're a gamer, or if you're even, there's even sort of the more fringe parts of gaming, like comics and collectibles, and there's so much stuff here that could be interesting, and it is massive. I mean, it's like a little city. How far have we walked today?
Kilometres.
I mean, it's where I met John for this meet. So I finished a meeting and then I met John, and we walked here to the rooftop bit near the press section, and that must have been 15-20 minute walk.
Yeah.
And it's like in a straight line. Like, it is massive, and there's so many huge halls. I've had meetings basically all morning, and so I haven't really done the rounds, but it's so easy to get lost.
Oh,
partly because the numbering system is so dreadful. Just as an aside, just horrendous. But other than that, it's massive. It's well worth. Do you know what tickets are for visitors? I have no idea. But
downside cheaper than NFT NYC.
I hope so. But I definitely paid to come to this event.
Yeah.
If you're a gamer, if you're into gaming, it really is one of those events that feels a bit unmissable.
Yeah, I think with gaming, especially nowadays, being a very, it's very online, it's very distant, it's very, we sit at our desks at home in our rooms, and it can seem quite closed off and not quite as big as it is. And you come to an event like Gamescom, it just blows your mind with everything that's on show here. I mean, you mentioned some of the niche areas of gaming here. I saw Playseat, who create those bucket seats for sim racing games over here, and they have like a Red Bull simulator and like all sorts of It's just,
I saw a full-sized lorry that has a simulator in it.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember where I saw it. This is the problem. I see cool stuff, and it's like, where is it?
It's in kind of that direction.
It's in 8.3.40. It's an very impressive event, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. But I'm also, I hope the aircon can keep up.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the heat.
There's a lot of people coming as well. Hundreds of thousands of people coming through.
Well, if you've seen some of Gamescom in 2018 and 2019, we'll have about 300,000, 350,000 people here. The entrance to this place was literally just a sea of people.
Yeah.
There were stories of people waiting 3 hours to get in. It's going to be hectic.
Yeah.
But,
well, especially because people have had time off away from it.
Yeah.
If you enjoy this event, you've not been able to go for a while, so you're definitely not going to miss this one.
Oh no.
So it feels like it's going to be crazy. Have we got side doors we can go through?
I hope so.
We flash lanyards at people. I hate queues.
I think Tokyo Game Show this year will be the first one in the last few years as well. So
Yeah,
I think that's going to be huge. But I mean, it just goes to show that there's such an appetite for all things gaming right now, and that doesn't just extend to traditional gaming; it extends to blockchain gaming and Web3 as well. And like I said, if you took the popular Twitter opinion, you would think that there's a lot of vitriol against the space. But I mean, coming here in person and talking to Web2 companies and publishers and studios and developers, and I'm sure tomorrow speaking to end consumers, I think we're going to find that it's the reality is very much different. And we've talked about onboarding to death on the podcast in the past, but it is, or it seems to be happening naturally, without any kind of pivotal major events happening to kind of shape it, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's just how it's going to go. It's just going to evolve in the mainstream, and it's just nice to be here at the start and see it forming, and see who's an early adopter and who's not. And I do feel, in a petty way, I'm going to remember who was really anti it, and who was very interested in seeing how they could innovate with the technology.
Oh yeah. No, I've definitely had a few meetings today that, well, actually, a few people that I tried to have meetings with that kind of cancelled purely on the basis that I cover blockchain games and I'm very much in Web3, and as you said, I mean, we've said before, when it comes to sites like Kotaku and PC Gamer, that they're very much going to change their tune.
I think so. Yeah. I think they'll perhaps hide behind what I've said before about, your writers have different opinions. There's definitely been an editorial theme with a lot of these websites.
Yeah.
Interesting, I haven't seen any. There's no presence from like PC Gamer or anywhere here. Have you seen? I mean, obviously they're covering it as press, but you'd think they'd do more than that, given like PC Gamer's kind of.
You'd think so. I mean, I think all of the major announcements from, Ubisoft, Microsoft, etc., will happen later in the week, and I think that's probably when they'll show their faces more.
Yeah.
But I think, especially this morning in the B2B area, I saw a decent amount of very hefty cameras being.
There were. Makes us feel inadequate with
me with
very nice Sony A7 IV.
Yeah, you never get to see it, of course, but it's it's tiny.
Mirrorless cameras, amazing.
Yeah. Oh, amazing tech, but not as impressive to lug around a show floor.
They've got literal shoulder like. The people that used to walk the streets to interview people for the news in like the 1990s, like lugging it around like that. Yeah, there's some big old cameras, but I'll be interested to see the coverage it gets. I'll be interested to see if anyone mentions Web3 or blockchain gaming in coverage of it. I guess they won't, but it depends, because the press have access to the B2B bit.
Yes.
So you'd think they might.
Well, I'm fearful that they will, and then they'll go to, let's say, the Horizon Blockchain Games booth or the Venly one, and just wait until there's nobody there, take a picture, and be like, hey, look, it was nobody turned over, it was slated or people hated it, and it's very much not the case.
Yeah, you could do that at any of the B2B bits, because every single one has been empty at some point.
Yeah.
Particularly if you've not got any sort of game demo or anything to play or do.
Yeah, I think that
lures people.
If anyone, I don't know if anybody watching this is, working for a company or anything that goes to these kind of events, but you've got to give something for people to do.
Yeah.
Rather than just have a person and a banner. Like when Atomica was at NFT Insider and we had our, you could spin the wheel and you could win merch and NFTs that were exclusive to the event. Yeah, that's a reason for people to come and turn up. But
I did have, how do I say this without getting cancelled? I had a very attractive human being come over to me to give me an entry thing where you go over to a booth and then scan a QR code and you can win a PS5.
Oh wow!
But that blend of things, very attractive human being, gave me a very nice shiny thing to go take to somewhere to win a PS5. That, I mean, I haven't been, so it didn't work on me, but I imagine that he's going to be affected. I mean, I probably will swing by at some point. I'd love a PS5, sure, but you do need some sort of hook, and some of the booths have the most incredible hooks. I've already seen a racing setup, which I need to go sit in. There's a load of VR stuff, which is cool. And that's another thing. I wonder for how long the VR stuff will ignore, because obviously the metaverse and VR is intrinsically linked in ways we're not entirely clear is genuine or useful. But
I mean, we on NFT Insider we wrote a while ago about Instagram's expansion of its NFT rollout, and at some point it has to come to the MetaQuest 2, their headset, the VR headset. It wouldn't make sense that it doesn't. And obviously they have Horizon Worlds, which is their big kind of metaverse, quote unquote, experience. And it would boggle my mind if within the next 12-18 months that didn't have some form of Web3 interaction. I mean, for a while Meta had their cryptocurrency in their wallets, which are both now cancelled, I believe. But surely they're exploring other options in this space. I believe there are some people from Meta here.
Are there? I've only seen Meta Zero.
Okay. Yeah, Meta Zero, funny enough, are sponsoring the
Congress.
The Congress, which is kind of the big news side, or kind of industry news side of this event. So it's interesting to see that very much a Web3 company is sponsoring the event that's all about the future of gaming.
Yeah, I wonder if that'll get mentioned. I met with a few of the guys at Meta Zero this morning. They're another pretty common face around here. They look like they were from my meeting. It looked like they went straight on the meeting, and every time I've seen them wandering around that particular floor, they seem to be in a meeting. So they're certainly active. It's strange, and it'd be interesting to see. I think it'd be really interesting where we can compare it to next year and see the difference. But so far, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I've been too many pretzels, but other than that, mostly positive feedback. Walking on pretzels are
walking and bread, that's your takeaways.
My takeaways, walking and pretzels.
I think the first thing I ate when I landed here yesterday was an Italian pizza, so I wouldn't say I'm being very...
I don't think, and I'm sorry if we have any German viewers, but I have never particularly loved German food.
Oh, how dare you?
Yeah, I went to Munich, I was thoroughly disappointed. Get a good hot dog. And good pretzels.
I have to introduce you to Joe Malays. I'm sure I'll be disappointed at your opinions on German food.
Well, he's welcome to keep feeding me until I change my mind.
In fairness, British food isn't really anything to shout about.
No. There's a lot of other places in Europe that are, but I mean, there's so much food.
Oh god, yeah. If you want any cuisine you can think of, you can find it.
Yeah, Josh took me past a sushi place.
Yeah,
I couldn't find it again. I was starving. I wandered around for a while and then got a giant pretzel.
Nice. Well, hey, I think that's...
Yeah, the wheels are coming off.
Yeah,
they're talking about stuff that's completely irrelevant.
Talking about food. But I think that's really all we've got to say on our Mint One Live episode from Gamescom 2022.
Yep.
I'm sure I'm going to have pieces of content come out of Gamescom. Both, of course, this podcast and written pieces coming for NFT Insider soon. I'm sure we will do as well. So stay tuned to both of our channels for those. And on that note, Rob, where can we find you?
I'm setting my glasses for this. Am I still? No, I'm not. I'm definitely not. You can find us at tokengamer.io and then Token Gamer News on Twitter. Token Gamer YouTube, Token Gamer apps. We're crawling everywhere these days. You can find us everywhere. We'll be doing content on Gamescom probably after the fact, sort of a reaction to it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do a few bits about that. And is there anything else I can talk about? I don't think so. If you're hearing funny noises, it's because we're in a courtyard. I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of it is. But people keep wandering through and shutting doors, and now there's some electric blinds going.
I'm not entirely sure if we're supposed to be here, but
I don't think we are. But it's but we finished the episode now, so it doesn't matter. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, where can we find you?
So, for the latest NFT news, you can head to nftinsider.io. As I said, we'll have content coming out of Gamescom and a whole bunch of things besides. As I said, as you're listening to this on NFT Insider this week, we've had a kind of pre-Gamescom tidbit of information from Jens, and we've got an interview with the brand new NFT gallery in London, the Qantas Gallery, and we also have an interview with Weekend, the people behind Our Planet, which is I'm sure if you've read this or read the interview by the time you're watching this, you'll agree with me. It's a rather spicy interview, shall we say?
Oh, really?
But yeah, you'll.
Now I'm interested.
No, well, you'll get to see it when it goes live.
Because you remember I wrote an article a while ago about when they released a major update trying to recover the economy after it collapsed, and I said to you, I wonder how they'll react to this, because it was half positive, half negative.
Yeah.
Because I want the game to succeed, but I saw the flaws and the mistakes, and they were good about that. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, they're currently fleshing out their proper game.
Yeah.
At the moment, looking for closed alpha testers. So go and check that out if you haven't already.
When's that up? When's that live?
Well, before the podcast goes live.
Yeah, I don't care about the podcast. I want to read it
tomorrow, most likely.
Okay,
Thursday,
excellent.
I think.
Yeah,
depends how much I can get published today. But, some great things in the works for you to look out for. In terms of socials, it's at NFT Insider _IO on Twitter Instagram. Twitter, we've always got giveaways going, as you guys know, and we've been posting lots of clips from this podcast and other things besides.
They do well.
Yeah, they do really well. They do really well. The Instagram reels do really well as well. And on that note, speaking of socials, we have a dedicated Twitter for the podcast. It's at Mint1Pod, MINT1POD. You can follow us there. On the NFT side, so we've just released or just launched, I should say, our newsletter, which goes out every Monday. Has the drop calendar, all the information about drops, articles, exclusive bits of content, exclusive giveaways, all sorts of interesting things. So if you head to the NFT Insider website, there's a sign up link there to get all of that. I feel like my outros get longer and longer. And then for me personally, it's at Hydropowered, HYDROPWRD on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, probably some more. Twitter's the main place for daily tweets from me about the state of the industry, and apparently the go-to place if you want to incite arguments in the Wax blockchain space.
So the Wax blockchain space on Twitter has been very argumentative of late. I find.
Yeah.
A bit strange.
I think it's a symptom of the bear market, quite frankly. I think.
People are pissy.
Yeah.
But fair enough, have that.
Yeah, but if you want to go and look at all the drama, then you can go check my recent tweets and in the comment sections.
And I implore you to join in. Insult John.
I did try and kind of douse the flames with water, but I appear to have failed.
Yeah. It certainly didn't work.
Well, I tried. I think
that's all anyone can ask you.
But yeah, I think that is everything.
Yeah.
From me.
Let's
so
go back to the
let's head back in. Yeah. All right, awesome. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe for more. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, 5-star review would be very much appreciated. And we'll be back next week behind our desks as normal.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
It is kind of sad.
But yes, we will.
But we will.
I won't have as many pretzels.
I won't have as many Italian pizzas either.
Well, that's much easier to get.
No, it's true.
No, the wheels have come off.
Yeah, the wheels have definitely come off. Guys, thank you so very much. It's definitely come off. Thank you very much for watching or listening, and we hope you tune in again next week.